In Chapter 1 of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, on a walk one Sunday evening, Mr. Utterson, a wealthy and well-respected London lawyer, and his friend Mr. Enfield passed through a quiet London neighborhood. Enfield points out a door and relates to Utterson a story in connection with it. One evening, Enfield says, he was walking home around 3 a.m. when he saw two people in the otherwise deserted neighborhood. One was a shrunken, misshapen man walking quickly. The other was a young girl running down a cross street. They ran into each other at the corner, and the man trampled the little girl, leaving her lying there screaming. Enfield, the girl's family, and a doctor confronted the man and blackmailed him into paying £100 to the girl and her family as compensation for what he'd done. The man led them to the doorway, went inside, and returned with £10 in gold and a check for the other 90. The group suspected the check was a forgery, but the man stayed with them until the bank opened the next morning. To their surprise, the check was good and carried the name of a respected gentleman. Utterson asks some pointed questions, but Enfield responds that he hadn't investigated it. He has, however, studied the door and says there is something strange about it. It isn't clear where it leads or how many rooms are associated with what's inside. Utterson asks the name of the man who trampled the child, and Enfield tells him it was Hyde. Utterson explains why he did not ask whose name was on the check, because he already knows who it is. The description of Mr. Utterson's character in the first two paragraphs of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are important because of how they frame what will follow. Utterson's character is described as eminently human, which serves to contrast Hyde's, which is not. Enfield's description of Hyde shows that there is something revolting about him. Furthermore, the reader learns how Hyde is. He has no compassion or guilt for what he did. This is a man, as readers will learn later, who is willfully and happily evil. Readers learn they must analyze Hyde the same as the characters in the novella, through the fragments of information revealed about him. So far, it is known that this is a society where actions matter and citizens are engaged. Additionally, social standing plays a significant role. Hyde may not care about good and evil, but he does care about his reputation, hence the bribe. Symbolically, the chapter introduces the door, opening a mystery that will reoccur throughout. Lastly, the chapter uses techniques common in Gothic and horror fiction to build suspense and to foreshadow events and people that will later be important: Hyde and Utterson.